Today we're going to be making this amazing serving tray with a beautiful inlay. So let's get started on this wood story. For this inlay serving tray, you're going to need a board of Wormy Maple measuring at least 1 by 6 by 4 feet long. And you'll also need some scrap pieces of cherry and hard maple. And if you're the type of person who prefer to have the plans in your hands, then all you have to do is jump down to the description where you'll find the direct link to grab these plans. So the first thing I'm starting with is surfacing my wood to ensure it's completely flat and square. And then I'm jumping straight into cutting all the sides for the serving tray, which all measures the same width. If you are following along in the plans, you'll see all of these measurements easily laid out. And I've also included them on the screen right here. And while I finish cutting up the sides for the serving tray, I just want to take a quick minute to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed and commented and liked my last video, which was the do-it-yourself planter box tutorial. All the likes and comments really helped grow this channel, and I so appreciate your support. So thank you very much. So once the Wormy Maple is cut to size, you should have 3 piles of wood, which are the short sides, the long sides, and the bottom boards for the serving tray. And that's minus the inlay wood, which we're going to cut later. At this point, the bottom boards for the tray are still too thick in depth, so you can either resaw them or use a planer. Now, cutting them on a bandsaw will help you save materials for later, but use whatever tool you have access to. In my case, I used the bandsaw, but I still ended up running them through the planer following to get them surfaced on both sides again. And after that part was done, it was time to start working on the inlay, which in my case, I'm using cherry wood and hard maple. You can, of course, use any type of wood that you would like, and I highly recommend that you use some scraps that you have laying around. Also, when you do cut the inlay pieces, make sure that you leave them a little longer than the final size needed. This will help ensure that during glue up, if any pieces were to shift, that it can still be fixed later on. And with all the pieces for the bottom now cut to proper width, you can start to glue them together following the pattern of Wormy Maple on the outside, then followed by cherry and hard maple in the middle, and then allow this to dry fully overnight. The next step is to make rabbet joints on the side pieces of our serving tray. These joints will fit together as shown here, and you can cut these joints on a regular table saw with a standard blade. You do not need a dado blade to cut these. Let me show you how. You are going to start by determining the amount you wish to cut out for the rabbet. And in our project, we're going to be cutting out 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, which is half the depth of our side pieces. Then we are going to take this 3/4 of an inch measurement and adjust our saw height to be the exact same. Now this will require some finessing, so when in doubt, start with the saw blade height a bit lower and then work your way up. We also want to have a visual measurement of how far to cut vertically, and you may be tempted to use your fence as a stop guide, but please don't, as this can cause the wood to bind and cause kickback. So instead, use painter's tape as a quick reference. And once your blade is in position and your tape is all laid out, you're ready to make your first rabbet cut. Start slowly, move the piece back and forth, and at each pass, move the piece slightly to increase the rabbet until you get to your marked point on the wood. Here you can see that I've just indicated that with a pencil mark. And obviously, if you had a dado blade, this would be a much quicker process. But, even without it, it just requires a little bit more time and precision, and you will get the same results. And once your rabbet is cut, you're going to do this exact same process on the other side, which will give you 2 rabbets to put together like this. If you do find that the joint is too small, then all you have to do is increase your saw blade height ever so slightly until you get the perfect fit. And then once you have those 4 sides, give them a test drive, put them together and see where you might still have some slight trouble spots that you need to adjust. And then all that's left for the sides now is to give them a good sanding and then glue those suckers together. I do like to use my picture frame strap to keep everything nice and square. If you don't have one of those, you can definitely use corner clamps instead. But I do recommend getting one of these. They're pretty inexpensive and I love mine and I've used it dozens of times already. And that brings us back to the bottom of our serving tray, which has now been drying overnight. And before running this through the planer to get it nice and even again, I'm just going to take a minute to scrape off the glue just to avoid junking up my planer. And then I'm taking it over to the table saw to cut off those extra long inlay pieces that we left long to begin with. And now that the sides of the frame is also completely dry, we can use that as our measurement to determine exactly what size the board should be. Just in case you made any errors, it is a good idea to leave the bottom a little bit longer. But you're not done with the bottom yet. We still have one more inlay to make. So go ahead and measure out the exact middle and then cut the board on your saw and place that final piece of maple inlay in the middle and then glue it and allow it to dry. And once it's dry, you can cut off any excess that you might have. The rabbets that you made earlier may have some small gaps, but not to worry, there is a simple fix. All you have to do is use a sander and then sand the type of wood that you are using, which is Wormy Maple in my case. And then use some of this sawdust and mix it with wood glue. You want to make a nice thick paste and then just use a scraper to scrape it into any of the gaps. Allow to dry and then sand again and your gaps will be fully gone. This serving tray has a handle indent and I'm going to use my laser to cut out a 6mm MDF template. And then I'm going to use my router with a template bearing in order to make this indent. Now, when using a router, you want to start at a much lower indent than your final size, and then you want to increase the depth as you go along. Again, this is to avoid the piece going flying, so always remember, slow and steady wins the race. If you don't have a router, you could always change the design slightly and cut the handle all the way through the wood by using a jigsaw or a scroll saw. Or if you don't have any of those, you could even use a drill and make 2 small holes and feed a piece of rope through to make more of a rustic handle. And by this point, you should have a complete bottom board for the serving tray and you should have a square edge with some sort of handle. And with these 2 pieces, it is time to align them and make any final cuts needed to ensure that they are the exact same size before gluing the top to the bottom. I like to wipe off any excess glue with a damp cloth in order to cut down on my final sanding time. Just make sure that you give it at least 5 to 10 minutes before you do this. And you can finish this serving tray with whatever preferred coat you like to use. I am using a glossy shellac because I like how well it stands up to wear and tear, especially for something like this where you're constantly moving stuff on and off the tray. And if you do spill any liquid on the shellac, it won't absorb it immediately. Now, it does have a tendency to get a little bit yellow, so if you don't like that, that could, of course, be a discouraging factor for you. But for me, the benefit definitely outweighs that. And you could always give it a little bit of a whitewash if you were concerned about the yellowing. I ended up giving this tray about 3 coats of shellac, and I sanded it slightly in between each coat. And just like that, this project was ready for its first test run, serving up some nice aqua on a hot day. Don't forget to grab your copy of the step-by-step plans down in the comments so that you can unleash your creativity and start your wood story today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next wood story.